Okay, how many did you choose? Can you count them?
Yes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Good job. Thank you. Hi everyone. So I decided to join in on Allie Brown's Honey's Slim Pickins art journal challenge, and you saw previously it was my son who picked out 5 items for me. He's only 4 years old, so I had to show him sort of all the different things that I had, and he was just drawn to all the very yellow things. He kept asking for yellow. So the first item I'm using out of his picks is some yellow acrylic paint, and it's really bright. So I was sort of freaked out by the choice at first, but I decided I would just water it a bit down and use it as my background, and just spreading a bit of the paint there randomly without really knowing what it is, what it's going to turn out to be like in the end. I let it dry and then I came back and I decided to start with the paper that he chose, and it actually goes like matches with the yellow color, so I guess I got lucky. And I was trying to arrange it, and I decided to use also the back of the paper because it's white to sort of contrast with the light blue. And you can see me sort of playing with the various items that I have. This like glitter gold leather cutout. You can see I cut out a bunch of hearts, but I'm sort of using the what do you call it, like the negative of it. So I wanted to use the white piece of paper to sort of ground it all, like on top or on bottom or something, but it just didn't, I don't know, just didn't really jive with me. I tried to use like the string to wrap around it and sort of create some kind of interesting background there, but I don't know, it just didn't feel right to me. So I sort of started over and decided to rip out a piece of the paper, and that just sort of organic edge, I guess, just seemed to feel a lot better for this. And it actually just worked out that the heart over that piece of paper like framed the word love, so that was pretty cool. So then I decided to use the white, like the other side of the paper that's white, as sort of like a grounding piece, but the first piece I ripped off was a bit too short, so it just didn't look right. It's like it didn't really do anything for the whole like cluster. So I had more paper, luckily, so I just decided to rip out a longer piece to put at the bottom, and that worked out a lot better. So you see me there ripping the longer piece of paper and putting it under the whole cluster part there, and that just made more sense to me. And I contemplating putting it on top or maybe even on the side, which looked pretty cool, but then I decided to put it back on the bottom because I wanted to journal under this whole little cluster. So I put that in position, and then the string, I thought maybe I could just cut little pieces of the string and include that under, sort of like as a supporting lines under the whole cluster. So it's a pretty simple sort of like embellishment cluster, as you might call it. It's not really anything revolutionary, I know. It's just interesting how when you first see those 5 items that are picked, it seems sort of like, whoa, what am I gonna make? And then once you get into it, it just sort of all works out. So I'm just using my Pritt stick to glue the paper down. And then for the little piece of leather and the string, I decided that they needed to get stuck on the page a bit stronger, so I'm using regular white glue. This is just like PVA school glue basically. So I stick the heart on and it frames the word love right in the middle, which is really cute. And then I glue also the little pieces of string down at the bottom to sort of anchor the whole thing and create that horizontal line. And you can see me sort of fussing with the string, like trying to get it to sit in a nice way, like not perfectly straight, like sort of a little bit wonky, because that'll look sort of more organic. But I was afraid that the string was gonna fall off at some point. And so I wanted to be a bit more sturdy, so I went and grabbed my stapler and stapled it onto the page. I guess technically that's not like a tool that was chosen for me, but I figured like tools, like scissors and glue and all that kind of stuff, just sort of is something you can use. So here I am stapling it together, and I sort of bent my page because the stapler didn't really go into the inner part of the page very well. And I'm trying to like fix the back because the staple didn't staple very well. It's sort of jacked up. And I'm probably going to poke myself with that little bit there. I think I'll just cover it up with paper for this next journal page. But basically that's the layout, and the last item I have left is this sort of greenish colored Copic marker, and it's an alcohol marker, so I decided just to do like a simple pattern on top, and when it goes over the paper there's a really deep color, but when it goes on top of the yellow paint it's really muted because it's this alcohol ink over the acrylic paint. So you can see that difference, sort of wonky. But in the end, you know, I like the way the page turned out. Like, it was completely unexpected, but I just sort of went with the flow and it just worked out in the end. So that was really surprising. And it sort of made me think about life, about how you're just dealt, you know, whatever hand that you have, and it might not be something that you like, but you make it work, you know, you make your decisions and your choices based on what you have, and that's, you know, what you have to make your life the best that you can make it. And it really does all work out in the end. So on the bottom here, that's what I sort of quickly journaled about. And I think that's sort of the cool thing about this challenge, is that's what it's really about. And I think everybody, you know, sort of ends up with something surprisingly interesting. So thanks for watching my video, and I hope you join in on the challenge as well.